Good evening. This is Peter Reznicek from ShadowTrader.net and Weekly Option Advisory. And you can kind of consider this video a little bit of a follow-up on the weekend update. If you recall, I talked about this pattern here, which is the bearish engulfment that we saw. And obviously it's a question of, does the market act the same way that it did in the past? There are multiple instances of this, if you recall from the video. I'm only going to show you a couple, but there's actually a couple more if you go backwards this way. But I'll just, we don't need to go into all the detail. You've probably seen it in my weekend video, but you notice that the bearish engulfing candle here generally leads the market lower after a couple of days. And that's how it was each time. Here you had three kind of bullish sideways days, and then you had a pullback, and here was the same exact thing. You had 3 days and you get a pullback. So tomorrow would be day 3 in this pattern. So we'll see what happens. So keep an eye on that. I think there's potential for the market to move lower here. Certainly futures are already down overnight a decent bit, trading about 53.10-ish in the ES after closing at 53.22. So down 12, a decent clip lower. One of the main things that you want to be paying attention to over the next couple of days to see if this plays out is the fact that the market is really being led around by NVIDIA hugely, especially the NASDAQ futures. And if you were watching the market closely today is Tuesday the 28th, this is being recorded, it was just very, very obvious that the ES would have been down much, much further had it not been for NVIDIA. I mean, the market internals were relatively bearish, as you can see here. Like there's so many sectors that were down hard from the open. Look at these numbers, like 1.17, 88 basis, 1%. Real estate doesn't count too much, but still 1.28. And there was very little green on the screen. And your weighted AD was pushing, at lows for most of the session. And look at how few positive ticks there were over the course of the day. Almost none. All of the tick action on the New York Stock Exchange was negative. And so that tells you a lot that under the hood, as far as the S&P is concerned, the market is deteriorating, without a doubt. There's been deterioration, so keep that in mind. So one of the things that I think will trigger a larger sell point, get the market moving harder in the downside, will be whether or not NVIDIA continues to make higher highs. So tomorrow, especially in early trade, you want to watch very, very carefully to see what NVIDIA does in terms of making a higher high. And one of the signals that you can play, which tends to work very well, is that let's say the stock does go up. If it comes down and it re-enters the range, that can often be a short point where you've got all the people that are long from that day, they start to be wrong if they haven't liquidated at the highs. If they haven't gotten paid on the move higher, they will start to liquidate. So just keep that in mind. So that's one way to look at it. It's outside of range. It could even be a gap as well. That works just as well. If the stock gaps up outside of range, so let's say you have an open somewhere here, what you want to be watching for is look for that move back into range. If it was to come down here right to the high there, and when it starts to enter range, that will be a little bit more bearish for the stock, and it will certainly bring, or potentially bring a little bit more bearishness into the market, because we've seen that this is a market that is absolutely being led around by this one stock, and it's extremely influential right now. So as I'm saying, you will get a larger break in the market if that's in the cards once you see a little bit of weakness in NVIDIA. Hey, this is Peter from ShadowTrader.net, and I just wanted to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you'd like to trade live with me every day in my weekly options advisory, then check out the link in the description below. I wish you good trading, and I'll see you in the room.